Mr. Mammini, what can you tell me about Mount Komorebi?
It's the name of both a region in the Eastern Highlands and a very big mountain in it. The mountain is well known for its winter sports center called Yukimatsu that is especially popular with tourists, as well as several residential areas that I can't remember the names of. But do you really think they're going to ask about that in the biology exam?
No, but they may ask about the edible plants you're likely to encounter there, such as the blackberry, an aggregate fruit known for its tangy bite and smooth aftertaste. Great for pies, but easily confused with the infamous
belladonna.
That is also a poisonous berry you shouldn't eat, but no. The correct answer is phytolacca, also called pokes in colloquial speech.
Whatever. I've never been a big fan of berries in general, so I'm not going to eat any of them.
You should take this more seriously. Our final exams are coming up soon. How do you expect to be accepted into university if you can't even graduate school with good grades?
What I'm going to study doesn't require good biology grades. That's the cool thing about you, Bright. They only care about the grades that are actually relevant to your chosen subject. But a scientific mind like yours is probably better off at Foxbury anyway, isn't it? I'm afraid that will make us enemies in the near future.
Actually, no. I'm not going to Brightchester at all.
Why not? Because you can't wear your own school uniform there. You know, it would be nice to see you in something else for a change.
You know that I'm not wearing this uniform by choice. My parents insist on it, and they're very strict. They want to move back to Sunpamachi once I graduate.
What? Why now all of a sudden?
Remember my maternal grandfather? You met him briefly last year. He still lives at his old house, all alone since his second wife passed away, and he's been having crazy ideas about opening a business lately. My parents want to be there for him, or at least that's what they're telling everyone. I know it's really because they never liked it here, and they think Takamizu University is better than anything Brightchester has to offer.
So, doesn't mean you have to go with them. You're old enough to make your own decisions.
It's not that simple. Where I come from, people place a much greater value on things like family honor, which in turn depends heavily on education, and my parents are more extreme in that regard than most. I want to live my own life, but maybe I can find a way to do so while also keeping them happy, because I've been nothing but a disappointment to them ever since I turned 10 and asked for a snowboard instead of a book about medical science.
Your parents should be proud of you no matter what you choose to do.
Says the guy who chooses to study economics to suck up to his grandfather, rather than putting his artistic disposition to good use.
I have to be realistic. Writing and music are hobbies, not something the average Joe can make a living with. I can still do those things in my free time.
Exactly what I'm planning to do. But like you, I have to be realistic, and unless I'm one of the lucky few who get to turn their hobbies into careers, my snowboard isn't going to put food on the table. Now let's get back to biology. We've already wasted too much time.
Tiamo? Hey, where is your mind at? Are you worried about the wraith thing? You may not be healed yet, but we took the first step by assembling Azrael's doll and binding it to you, so it's only a matter of time now.
I know. I was just remembering Suki, my first girlfriend that we talked about yesterday. She would love it here. I wonder if her family let her keep her snowboard.
You didn't part on bad terms if I remember correctly, so you can always get back in touch. Or stalk her on social media, like a normal person.
I would. If the reception in this place wasn't practically non-existent.
Mom, we talked about this. Dad will get suspicious if we both disappear without a word, and I'll be more useful on this mission than you.
But the mission is about my sister. I can't just sit around and do nothing while my son is risking his life up there on the mountain, surrounded by witches.
The Winter Sports Center wouldn't offer guided excursions if they were that dangerous. Speaking of which, we're supposed to meet with our tour guide at the onsen in 5 minutes, so we should get going now.
By the way, bitch caught a little cold on our hike yesterday. If you ever get bored sitting on your ass and doing nothing, feel free to go to our place and look after her, while we look after your son.
What happened to you, Snow friend? I could have sworn you were in better shape when we came back from our trip yesterday. You know what, never mind. I have to get back inside before this cold kills me.
Evelyn, there you are. Any idea where our son is? I thought he was with you.
Yes. He was. But not anymore, because he and Wilbica are taking part in a skiing course specifically for children and teenagers. We should leave them alone for the time being.
I know where Jacob went. You told me that 3 times at breakfast. I mean David. Or is he taking part in that course too?
No. Why?
He's not in the house, and I haven't seen him in a while.
But I have. He was headed to the forest hiking trail not too long ago. I was surprised that he was going there alone, but then I let out a world-shattering sneeze and lost sight of him. Wonder if that's what killed this snowman.
Did you leave him alone? You were supposed to look after him while I was out.
Well, excuse me, I have to use the bathroom every once in a while, if that's all right with you. Why did you go out in the first place? Jacob is old enough to find his way to the slopes by himself.
So, perhaps I'd like to spend some time with him nevertheless. Does that make me a bad mother?
Love is in the air. You two are starting to sound like my mistress and her ex-husband before they broke up. Not that I was alive back then to witness it, but I know everything, and all couples get to that point in their relationship sooner or later.
We have to look for him. There aren't many places he could be. Perhaps he just went to Rendislight for the bunny slope.
In his current state of mind, I don't think so.
I'm open to suggestions.
Since you're asking so nicely, I can help.
Well, if it isn't the Mammini's mutt with the unspeakable name.
If it isn't the douchebag who lost his child while taking an unspeakable dump. As long as we can't rule out that it was your anal explosions that caused him to run away, I would shut up if I were you.
Perhaps she can help us find David.
Finding missing children is my specialty, at least in those cases when I've seen where they went. Follow me.
I feel bad about leaving bitch alone when she's sick.
Don't worry, she's safe with my mother.
Fine by me. But if I come back later today and find my familiar wearing a cross pendant, I might add your mother to my garden gnome collection.
Whatever you think of her, I assure you she's not going to force her religious beliefs on a dog, not even a special dog like yours.
And I assure you bitch wouldn't even let it come to that.
But, wait. Are you saying those garden gnomes in your basement used to be actual people?
You should consider rethinking your attitude towards Evelyn. She might become an essential ally at some point.
Is that yet another thing you remember from your past, which is our future, that you won't tell us about? Because it certainly sounds like it.
Looks like that's our guide.
Is that Mr. Shimizu?
I am Mammini. What the hell? First on Solani, now here. Are you stalking me?
Exactly what I was going to ask you. What leads you here?
I live here, if you don't mind. Well, not here exactly, but in a town further down the mountain, and this is one of my wellness centers.
I thought it was an onsen.
It is both, and we also have a fitness room back there and a yoga studio upstairs.
I should have guessed I might run into you again when I saw those death flowers at the end of the hiking trail yesterday. That must be the steady supply you were bragging about the last time we met. Seems like the loss of your customers on Sulani did take a toll on your business after all, if you have to make money on the side as a tour guide now.
Grandfather Masahiro just came to wish me good luck. I am your tour guide.
I can't believe it. Suki.
So that's why you thought Mr. Shimizu looked familiar on Sulani. Because you've actually seen him before. What a small world.
Long time no see, Tiamo. Nice to see you too, Wilbica, although you look to be the same age you were 10 years ago. How is that possible?
Nah, I was just a very precocious toddler back then.
If you say so. Unfortunately, you can't come with us. The mountain excursion is too dangerous for children.
Says who?
Not me, but I still have to abide by the rules. Doesn't mean you can't have some fun in the meantime though. Feel free to explore the slopes with our rentable sleds, skiers, and snowboards in all sizes. Or just stay here, because as my grandfather said, this spot is also an onsen with fitness and yoga rooms, and everything is child-friendly. I'm sure he'll be happy to give you a tour.
What? But I didn't. Fine. Anything for you, my dear.
Can the rest of us go then?
Sure. I'll just slip into my jumpsuit.
And I'll slip into my yoga pants, I guess. Too bad I didn't bring any. I'd much rather go looking for Elise.
We'll find her, with or without you. I won't come back down this mountain until we do.
Oh dear. What is a magic portal doing here?
Everything all right, Evelyn? Have you found our son?
No. Stay where you are. There's nothing here. Nothing interesting at all.
This is taking forever. Are you sure we can trust him?
It's a she. And give her time. She's not one of your well-trained police dogs.
Exactly, not any dog is automatically a good trailing dog. How do we know she hasn't lost David's scent, or that she was ever following it at all?
Oh, I'm still following it. What confuses me is the scent itself. I met your son before his hair color changed, and his scent was different back then too. The question you should be asking is, how do you know that child is really your son?
There he is.
David, finally. We were so worried. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Lo and behold, he found his voice again. What happened?
What were you thinking, running away like that? I hope it was worth it, because you're grounded for the rest of your life.
Aren't you even going to acknowledge the fact that your son just spoke his first words since forever? What about you, Holy Mary of Newcrest? Anyone?
Calm down, Aaron. I'm just glad we have him back. Thank you for your help, bitch.
Hey, whatever. Let's wait and see if you still want to thank me later. Something strange is going on with this kid.
Ouch! Are we there yet? I'm getting really tired of this.
Are you hurt, Mum?
No, why would I be? I'm just a frail old lady who keeps falling on her ass because she likes it.
I didn't expect this to be so exhausting.
Well, what were you expecting? This is just the beginning, so pull yourselves together.
Exactly, you're doing great. If your gloves have gotten wet from the snow and ice, try climbing without them and apply some magnesium carbonate or climbing chalk to your hands. Then just follow the path Loki took, and you will be up there in no time.
No point in comparing us to that overachiever who's somehow good at everything. Damn it to hell.
Don't be so hard on yourself. No one is born a master.
I'm not hard on myself, I'm hard on this stupid wall. Oh, look, your grandfather. What for heaven's sake is he doing over there?
Huh? What are you talking about? Mrs. Mammini?
Look up.
What? But how?
You were right, taking the gloves off and chalking my hands really did the trick. Now get your own ass up here. If you don't mind, I'd like to reach our destination before I die of old age.
Okay.
So this is Henford-on-Bagley, the metropolis of farms and livestock. Which of the farms we drove by was yours? Not that I remember any of them in particular. It's way too early in the morning for me to pay attention.
The one closest to the municipal border was the one I grew up on, but my parents moved a few years ago and gave it to my uncle Carmine, who now lives there with my cousins Ginger and Ruby.
And your mother's name is Scarlet. She has a cow called Poppy, and 3 chickens called Aurora, Vermilion, and Mahogany. Am I imagining things, or does your family have a theme going on?
So you noticed, huh? They really like the color red, at least on my mother's side. The reason I'm not named after a shade of red is that there are relatively few that work as boys' names, all of which are already taken by my uncles and great-uncles, and another silly rule in my family states that there can't be 2 living members with the same first name, farm animals excluded. So for most of my generation, they agreed to name the boys after things that are red, like my cousin Blaze, who still thinks he can control fire because of his name.
What does yours mean?
Friend of the heart, with the heart being the red element. If I had been a girl, I would have been called Rose. Hard to believe that that wasn't already taken, isn't it?
Then why didn't your parents name your sister that? Audrey is not a shade of red.
True. That is strange indeed. I'll ask them, once they stop pretending that my sister was really just my imaginary friend all along.
Corwin, I don't want to get on your nerves, but...
Too late.
Have you ever considered that they might be right? I mean, you showed me pictures of your family, including Audrey. She looked nothing like you, or your parents, especially with those purplish eyes. Is that even a natural eye color among non-mare folk? Because the only other person I've ever seen with purple eyes is Loki, and he's anything but human.
So that's proof to you that she must have been imaginary? Well, I'd say the fact that there's photos of her pretty much proves otherwise.
Right. The wonders of modern technology. But still, Something feels off about this.
We're getting closer to facing the truth. This is the Bramblewood Lake, where my sister drowned. Do your thing. But be careful. Whatever killed her might still be there.
Well, I hope so. Otherwise we'll never know what it was. Wish me luck.
The yoga course was lovely, as usual. Thanks Shimizu-sama. I'm looking forward to your next astral projection meditation class.
You're welcome. What about the other class that you are teaching me?
We may continue as soon as you're ready.
Perfect. Just be a dear and don't tell anyone about it. People in this region distrust me enough as it is. They don't need to know that I'm learning to move objects with my mind.
You can count on my discretion.
Who was that charming alien lady?
A regular customer who lives around here.
One that claims to be teaching you telekinesis, and in turn you're teaching her astral projection, as in detaching one's spirit from the body and sending it on a journey on its own. Why are we wasting our time with yoga when we could be doing that instead?
Because that is based on a very refined technique of my own creation that I only share with select customers.
How much?
Pardon?
If by select customers you mean rich customers, my family has more than enough money, so just tell me how much you're charging for some insight into that refined technique of yours, and let's get started.
No.
Okay, let me put it this way. Teach me astral projection, or I'll tell your distrustful neighbors about your telekinetic endeavors. Of course, the chances of you actually having such powers are virtually zero because you're not an alien, but they don't know that.
I see you got your business acumen from your mother. Alright. Come with me. I have to warn you though that one class won't be enough to even teach you the basics.
Doesn't matter, I have plenty of time while my family is out there climbing the mountain.
Be honest, Suki. How is my mother really doing?
Not as good as you and your two friends, but not the worst novice climber I've ever guided through this region either. All she needs is practice. Would you like some blackberries while we were giving her a head start?
No thanks. I'm not hungry, and you know I never liked berries.
Good, because these are not actually blackberries. They are
phytolacca, also known as pokes, and poisonous. Yeah, I know. I may be very different today from the person I was 10 years ago, but I haven't forgotten everything.
I heard you became famous. Posting yaoi videos starring yourself in a communal shower on YouTube seems to be beneath you though.
You saw it? Yeah, that wasn't me. I mean, it was me in the video, but that video was never meant to be recorded, let alone be posted online.
And that other guy? Are you two a couple?
I don't do couple stuff anymore. Which means I'm always open to short-term adventures with partners of any gender, so if we don't make it back until dusk, and you get a little cold underneath that jumpsuit, just let me know, and we could finally try out all those things we never dared to do as teenagers.
Thanks for the kind offer, Mr. Casanova, but I'm happily married, and a mother.
For real?
For real. Still, it's good to see you're finally open about your bisexuality. You were rather shy about such things back in the day, but I guess anything became possible the moment I stood up to my parents.
We both have changed a lot. You more than me, I would argue. What was the last straw that broke the camel's back in your case?
My daughter. She was barely a year old when I started researching and making lists of everything from nursery schools to universities, always favoring the ones with the biggest variety of educational opportunities over others that may have been closer and more personable. Then my husband pointed out that I was turning into my own mother, planning the entire life of my child in advance before she could even speak, and that's when I decided it couldn't go on like that.
You always took your education very seriously. I can understand why you'd want your child to be good at school too.
I was good at school because I had a good memory and a lot of pressure, not because I actually understood everything I wrote down in those exams. I knew that if I screwed up, my parents would scold me for it. The only reason they let me see you was because I told them you were the smartest kid at school, someone I could learn from. They never realized that I was the one tutoring you, let alone that we were in a relationship. I would never want my daughter to keep such things from me, or think I would disown her for a bad grade.
So you got your eyes lasered and turned your winter sports hobby into a career to make a statement.
Yes, and in a way, you inspired me to do it. You told me that my parents should be proud of me no matter what. As it turns out, they don't think so, and we are barely on speaking terms nowadays, but Grandfather Masahiro has been very supportive. Ironic, considering that he's the one who shaped my mother into the woman she is today.
My mother and grandfather weren't birds of a feather either, even though he raised her by himself for the most part. Speaking of her, look, she has reached the top.
Hey you two, what are you waiting for? Better times? Unbelievable how you keep slowing us down.
We should join her before she goes ahead and runs into any forest spirits without us.
She won't, at least not up here. They're called forest spirits for a reason.
What are these things?
Corwin. What are you doing there?
Wishing you luck, of course. Did you have any?
If you're hungry, yes. I caught us some delicious fish for breakfast. But other than that, no, nothing unusual in this lake. I searched it more than once.
That's disappointing. But thanks anyway, it was worth a try.